8, 7, 6, 5. Tried to hold us back, to hold us, tried to hold us back.
We will be here forever. Do you understand?
Hey, it's Shan here. This week I catch up with one of the most iconic Australian skateboarders in modern times. It's Chima Ferguson. For me personally, I was just fanning out. I don't fan out often, but I do fan out on Chima. I mean, he's been throwing himself down stuff for like 25 years, and still his passion, his love, but also his level of professionalism has just sustained for many years. And we really do get inside his mind, what he thinks about when he is approaching video parts, sponsorship obligations, and just the courage to throw himself down big shit. To me, Chima's this beautiful combination of like tech with amazing style and also just finesse in throwing himself down big gaps. And I think he combines it better than anyone. He's just got Chima steez. Like, you watch him skate, you know you're watching something special every time. And it even comes down to what he chooses to wear and the amount of thought that goes into every single thing he does. He's a seriously inspiring human. We had the privilege of doing a full video production this week, so we were able to have some of Chima's clips up, and Chima talks us through some of his tricks from his amazing video part that he put out during the COVID lockdowns. It was the Nice to See You part, and he talks us through that double set. He talks us through the switch tray and a few other tricks. So you might be surprised at actually what was going on during the process of those things. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm really lucky this week. I was joined by past guest, friend, and all-around Mr. Nice Guy, Ty Coling. So it's a great episode, and enjoy getting to know Mr. Chima Ferguson, everybody. Cheers.
Destined to rock for eons, time doesn't exist. Shut those cataracts, capture the virtualist. Now, let's get back to what makes things seem forever, whether it's unseen, unheard, or it's 16 again. Not a bother, fill this old man river, kill a floor with gives all.
That double set that you rolled in Martin Place, do you feel like that was the pinnacle of you throwing yourself down shit?
I wouldn't say the pinnacle, but it was definitely like the biggest and fastest I've ever gone in my life.
So you're not done throwing yourself down stuff?
No.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
it going until, yeah. Wow.
Keep it
Still
going
got
till
more to
when?
I guess till I can't do it anymore. I guess till I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
When I wake up one day and I'm just like, I'm over it, you know?
Yeah, I getcha. Yeah, because let's face it, that last part, Nice to See You, for me personally, and I think Ty and I were discussing it the other day, it's actually one of my favourite skate parts of all time. Definitely my favourite Australian skate part of all time. And maybe we can get that clip up of the double set first that you rolled in Martin Place.
All right.
And you can talk us through the process because, I mean, as far as NBDs go, wow, let's go.
Yeah. One that a lot of people would have looked at over time, for sure.
So what do we got up here? Okay, we'll start with the kickflip or... Yeah, let's start with the kickflip. Leave that one going. Can we start there? We won't do the double set first. So where was that? What city?
So that's probably about 500 metres away from where we are right now. So that's Mount Carmel School in Waterloo. And I think I ollied it in 2017, something like that. And for this part, I was like, I'll just go one-up myself, I guess. And thought a kickflip would be great. So just went there. It was raining that day. So we had to wait a little while. It was freezing cold. It cleared up. And I think the first one was fourth try. But if you can see in the footage, my board kind of overflips. So for the photo, it didn't really turn out. So for about 2 hours after that, I kept trying to do it. And just to get the photo. And then I think I landed two more, but they were just...
You weren't happy?
Rocket and weird, yeah. But so the first one worked for the footage, but the other ones were for the photo.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how long were you there in total that day?
Probably about like two and a half hours, yeah. So it was a lot. I would count probably like 40, 50 something attempts maybe.
Wow.
And because the run up's downhill, it's like super hard to kickflip
Yeah.
and like get it level. I don't know. I've always
Yeah.
had that problem.
I just, watching it, I felt like I could just see by like your emotions and expressions that it wasn't an easy day at the office compared to some of the other stuff you've done.
Yeah. Well, to make the first one, like when I landed, rolled away, and I was just like, all right, like fourth try, like I don't know, it can't be that easy. Yeah. And then we looked at the photo and I was like, all right, the photo's not going to turn out. So then that's when all of the rest of it happened.
Wow, dude.
It's a bit of a, yeah, you can see it's like a mental breakdown. Yeah. It's pretty painful.
Yeah, like when you're in that space of, you know, when you're trying a trick and it's like it's hurting you and you're getting close, but you don't know if you're going to land it. You know, what mental process do you go through when you're in that yucky space of like, oh, I just don't want to throw myself off this one more time?
I don't know. I think when it gets to the point where you've got sketchy attempts and
there's the breakdown.
Yeah, see, that's like, yeah, completely over it there. But normally you go through like waves where normally when I start trying a trick, I'll get close to it and I'm like, all right, I get in this mindset where I'm like, you know, maybe a couple more tries, I'm going to make it. And then you start to lose it and they start to look really bad. You're not catching it. You're not doing whatever. And then you start to doubt yourself and then maybe you get a second wind.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you know, it's just like anything in life. You go up and down.
Can we just go back to the make, that last one? Can you just scroll back? So was that the one you were happy with? This one here? No. Is it? I think, is this it?
See, so that one's like...
Was that the one where you're kind of, the board was kind of...
No, so that one's a bit... That's the weird one. So that would have been... See, I landed, I didn't go straight. The first one was just...
You weren't taking it.
Yeah, the first one was perfect. Besides what the photo looked like, because my board was overflipped. It was... Yeah, I wish... If the photo turned out, I would have walked away from there that day with 4 attempts. And that would have been great, but yeah. Need the photo.
You need the photo.
Yeah.
How much pressure do you feel from your sponsors to produce footage and content?
Not too much, to be honest. Like, I think I do it at a good rate. Like, every 3 years I do a video part. I do stuff on Instagram all the time. But instead of putting out more video parts and more content, I'd rather do something like this where I plan it all out, trick selection, do it the way it should be done. So it's just quality over quantity, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about that this morning, Steve and I. So what was the gap between that video part and your last one? So your last part was propeller? Was it before this one, or was it a real part?
I did Spinning Away for Vans, and that was 2018. So that would have been 3 years.
Yeah.
And then before that, there was like a real part. And then before that was Propeller, which was 2015.
Gotcha.
So I'm probably about due to start doing something or to put something out.
How long did it take your body to recover from filming that part? Because let's face it.
It wasn't too bad. So for Nice to See You, that's probably like the fittest I've ever been in my life. Like before going and doing majority of those tricks, I'd like practice the trick throughout the week and then also do strength training and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, you do that. I wasn't sure if you're one of those guys.
Yeah, so I don't go to a gym or anything. I just work out at home. So I haven't been skating as much lately, so I'm not working out.
Gotcha.
But when the job needs doing, then I get back in the rhythm of it.
Dude, professional.
Yeah.
That's what professionals do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good for kids to hear this, man. Like,
yeah.
It just doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't post my workouts on Instagram because I'm not personally like that into that. But, I mean, if anyone was to hit me up and ask me, I'd be open to talk about it.
Yeah, sick, man.
Yeah.
I love that, dude.
Do you do cold plunge recovery sort of stuff as well? Recovery?
Not religiously. Like, for example, on a day like that, like after trying that kickflip, I would definitely jump in an ice bath, but not like a daily routine.
Yeah, I'm all meant for direct recovery
Oh,
after
yeah, no, most definitely.
specific things.
Yeah.
For sure.
Get up in that, yeah.
Speaking of video parts, I heard a rumor. I'm not sure if it was for Nice to See You or Propeller that you'd actually finished your part like a couple of years before deadline. Is there any truth to that?
It's high with the scoop.
The Nice to See You was definitely finished before the deadline because it was originally supposed to be September 2021, and then it ended up going out in like October, November, maybe November or something like that. But no, I would say most video parts I've always just gone right up to.
Yeah, right. Vicious, deadly rumor then, for sure.
Yeah.
That one. Heard you'd finish and then like everyone else had to catch up. You were just chilling.
Oh, no, I don't think anything like that. I think it was more,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, on one of your, when we were communicating through DMs on Instagram, in one of your comments, you're like, I don't linger on Instagram too much. And,
Yeah.
in the advent of modern day skateboarding and people, especially skaters, promoting themselves that way,
Yeah.
how do you feel about it and where are you at with it?
It's like love-hate relationship where it's convenient. Like, for example, I live in Australia now, and if you want to keep yourself relevant, I guess, you can always just go on your phone, post something, and then everyone in the world knows about it. But at the same time, it also takes away from the quality of what you put out and the perception people have of you. It can be like the best of both worlds. If you're into it and you're good at it, great. But then for other skaters, I don't know. But it's like that for all walks of life,
Yeah.
It's really taken for music, for absolutely anything. It's just like to stay relevant, you're just putting whatever you can out just so people can see it.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Do you have self-imposed parameters of what you will put up? What's acceptable or...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to name any names or name and shame anyone that does these things. But for me personally, some things that people put online are just, it's a bit cheesy. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So can you name any specific parameters that you kind of do have?
He doesn't do workout vids. That's
I mean, I think it's interesting. Like for some people, like I see some skaters online that'll post their workouts and I'm like, well, I'm going to try that myself. And so I'm not hating on them for doing that, but I think not necessarily like posting a video, talking to the camera. Not all of it is cheesy, but some people that it's just living the entire Instagram lifestyle on a daily basis, showing everything they're doing is just, for me personally, not into that.
Yeah, but in terms of sustaining a career,
yeah,
I often think if it's your bread and butter and you're supporting families, is there that pressure to do it? And then I see someone like Wes Kramer, who has no social media, seems to do it. I think maybe people like you and him such rare talents might be able to get away with it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, he just got kicked off DC because he didn't have Instagram.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say the one person that does it is Jake Johnson.
Yeah.
He has his own, it's not his, but someone started a hashtag for him and everyone just tags that every time there's footage. I think he's such a unique skater that he doesn't need to have an Instagram, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, look, I don't hate it. It's convenient, but yeah, I don't like sitting on there too much. It's an overload of information. I don't know. I don't think it's good for your brain.
Do you think it impacts on your time with your child?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll wake up and check Instagram and do all that type of stuff every so often, but if I'm with the family, I try to just put my phone down.
Yeah, sick.
And live a real moment.
Yeah. Where are you at with parenting? How are you finding it?
It's amazing. It's different every single day. It's different every single year. Very early on, my wife and I, our daughter was such an easy baby. She slept, she didn't cry much, she ate, whatever. And we're like, oh wow, we've got it down. This is going to be amazing. It's so easy. And then 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, there's all different types of battles that you go through every day. So yeah, don't ever think that you have it on lock, because you don't. Yeah.
If you don't mind me prying a little bit, has it redefined your relationship with your partner?
Yeah, definitely. There's
Is that evolving as well?
Yeah, always, because you have the times where you're up and they're down, or vice versa, and then your roles that you take on and all those types of things. So it's all about finding a way to make it all work and to coexist with the madness that is parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't have a regular job.
Yeah, exactly. So I think for our daughter, especially because she was about a year old when COVID kicked in, and before that there was the bushfires, so we were just at home for a very long time. So she's grown up with both of her parents around all the time. So she has an idea of how she thinks life should be, which is always having the attention of both your parents, but majority of kids don't get that.
Yeah. How old is she?
She's almost 5.5 now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some pretty integral learning happening in those early years, and it was COVID lockdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, what if that was a benefit, in a blessing in disguise in terms of...
I think from what I got from most parents, some kids did better being at home and having their parents teach them, and then other ones, it was completely a failure,
Stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just her immunity during that time, because she was just at home with us. When she finally went to daycare, it was just every week there was something for a year and a half, and now she's good. But yeah, and all the other parents I know went through the same thing. So it's a crazy time.
Oh, well, we're getting further and further away from that.
Yeah. Well, the remnants of it, everyone kind of forgot what it was like during that time. But I think financially what we're seeing, and what you will see for a very long time, is a lot of businesses lost a lot of money during that time, and then the government also gave out a lot of money, so we don't even know what the true cost of COVID was yet. I don't think you want to know.
No, I said this years ago. I was like, they can't be, we're going to pay at some stage, they can't be giving out all this money, and I think it is starting to slowly happen. Cost of living so high, taxes are so high. And I just feel, I don't know if you feel it as well, but a lot of people I know are just so stressed right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's very uncertain time. Wars and things going on. I don't know. What can you do? It's all out of our control. You never really get to choose anything.
Is that a philosophy you hold close to your heart?
Yeah, pretty much.
Surrendering?
I think regardless of who you vote for or what you try to do, you're always going to end up getting shit on, basically.
In this country.
I think anywhere you live in the world.
Comparatively to living in the States.
Oh, I'm not complaining about my life here. It's amazing.
Yeah, but if you had to draw comparisons between living there and living here, what are the biggest things you notice in terms of quality of life?
Well, especially since COVID, the poverty over there is insane. The drug epidemic is crazy.
Fentanyl.
Yeah. I don't know. It's different though, because it's what you see on Instagram or social media about the border being open and all that kind of stuff makes it look really intense. But then I was there probably a month and a half ago and it seemed all right. But I went there in 2022 and LA was by far the worst I'd ever seen it. It was scary.
After all the years of going back and forth.
Yeah, just because that was the first time I went back after COVID.
Yeah.
And it was third world country.
Tents, all the tent cities happening.
The tents and just open drug use was next level. And the stories I had about people getting guns pulled on them and robbed, and normally those things would happen in certain areas, but it was just it could happen anywhere.
Yeah.
No matter where you were in LA.
Good area, bad area.
Yeah, yeah.
So how'd you feel when you were street skating? just on
Street
guard?
skating was fine. It was more or less being out at nighttime
Okay.
when, you're going to walk a block to your hotel or something like that and
Sketchy.
someone will run up on you, Wow. Yeah.
Did you have those same feelings growing up in Villawood?
Not necessarily because I grew up there, so I knew all the people.
Yeah.
It was more so you would get trouble if you went to an area that you weren't familiar with
Yeah, right.
or the people weren't familiar with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were just ingrained and entrenched in it.
Yeah. And then also it happens everywhere in the world. Like a lot of the time when you're skating, people don't really fuck around with you.
Why do you think that is? It's because it's hard to hit a moving target because skaters are always moving around. It's like people
No,
don't want to
I
mess
think
with
it's
you.
just like people have a good idea that I think when cops see you, they're like, a lot of the time they'll be like, as long as you're not graffitiing, whatever, because they still draw those parallels. But I've been in sketchy places in the States and people are just like amazed by skating.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you're just doing your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're usually in a bit of a group too when you're skating. It's not like
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
full soloing as such.
No, definitely.
I just also think it's because you're literally part of the urban environment. Like no one else is using the urban environment like you.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, they're really part of that. I'm just going to leave them. I don't know.
Yeah. People are normally like you could go to a sketchy zone, especially in the States, and you'd be far worse off if you didn't have a skateboard with you because people would be wondering what you're doing, especially if you're black over there. But if you got a skateboard with you, people are ask less questions. They're just like, oh, you're just doing your skate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reflect on your time growing up in Western Sydney if you had to stand back and reflect on that time from 0 to 15, the years, what's your overriding feeling about your childhood in that area?
Look, I saw a lot of sketchy things happen, and it's weird what you're desensitized to when you speak to people that didn't see similar things. But to be honest, it was a great place to grow up, and at my age, a good place to get out of.
Okay.
So you grow up with a certain idea of how life should be and the people that you grow up around, and it teaches you a lot. And then if you get the chance, you move on and you take that with you. Kind of humbles you in a sense.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
What were the positive things that you could attribute to growing up there?
Just being able to do whatever you want, really, because my daughter and her friends, we all live in Redfern, and you can't just let your kids go out onto the street and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But just because of the space that Villawood had, you could kind of ride your bikes around the neighborhood, no cars were around, ride your motorbikes, I don't know.
Do you think that may be an era in time sort of thing? Have you been back there recently to see if it's changed or not? Because I feel I had a lot of freedom when I was young. I mean, I lived in the eastern suburbs and stuff.
Yeah.
Instantly that, but I think that was still pretty much an era in time.
Yeah.
Of go get public transport, whatever, go and do whatever. When I was super young, So.
I think that's definitely part of it as well. I don't know what has changed in society, but it seems you don't want your kids catching the bus or even putting them on social media. All of it's so sketchy, it's weird.
Well, that's such a new phenomenon, relatively speaking, for sure.
So hard to manage.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't, because my daughter's 9, even if you don't let them have social media, their friends have it now, and so when you're not with them, their friends are showing them stuff, and some of the stuff that pops up on TikTok is
it's unbelievable.
How do you protect them from that?
Yeah,
it's crazy, eh?
Yeah, it's a brand new thing, so I don't know how to do that or how I'm going to do it.
You're half Nigerian, yeah?
Yeah.
And I'm going to speak from my own experience. I grew up on the south coast of New South Wales, a place called Nowra, low socioeconomic area. I grew up in single-parent household.
Yeah.
And I'm half Maltese, so I sort of had darker features.
Yeah.
In my earlier years, there was no one with sort of the same features as me.
Yeah.
So I did get called like racial slurs a lot most of my life.
Yeah.
And with my surname as well, which is a Maltese surname.
Yeah.
Did you have experiences or have you had experiences similar throughout the course of your early years or not really?
I mean, not in a really negative way. Like where I grew up, Villawood was basically a melting pot of any race that you could imagine. So growing up, especially in Australia, all of us, I don't want to get cancelled for this, but kind of made fun of each other for all of our stereotypes. So it was never calling someone out or calling them a slur to try to offend them. It was more just like, we're all different, so let's just make fun of it. It was funny.
Well, they're easily identifiable in a sense, sorts of things.
Yeah.
And I think that's always been a part of the social dynamics somewhat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I think if everyone was a little less sensitive and you just kind of made fun of each other for the differences that we all have, then yeah.
It's funny that you just started with like, I don't want to get cancelled for this. And Steve Tierney and I were talking about it yesterday. There's just such a fear of cancel culture, and I'm changing trajectory a little bit here.
Yeah.
And, you know, in skateboarding in recent years, we've lost some really big characters, like big outspoken personalities and characters. And we're sort of saying how we feel like skateboarding is becoming a little bit more sanitized and diluted because there's less outspoken people. And when there's money involved, people are scared of being cancelled because it's going to affect them financially. Yeah. And what do you think of that?
I mean, I guess you see it everywhere. It's like in the music, it's on everything. And with cancel culture, I don't think it's about, you're basically just trying to erase something. So something someone said, instead of talking to them on why that might be wrong or giving someone your different opinion on something, it's like, you said something that I don't like or we all don't like, so we're just going to shun you and send you away.
Block.
When it's like, you should keep the conversation open and talk about why this person feels that way and why your opinion's this way. Because if you just erase every bad thing from history, then you can never look back and realize why you want it to be better and why things should be the way that they are.
And I reckon that breeds empathy and understanding, you know, like trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes. And I really do believe like your enemies are your greatest teachers as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
everyone's got like a lot to learn from one another.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just keeps creating echo chambers. And that's actually, to get to a little bit deeper, I think that's the breakdown of like democracy.
And social discourse. Which is what democracy is kind of meant to be about.
Yeah.
Being able to have differing points of view and everyone sort of coming together. But and that's why you have voting, right? Because you differ in opinions and things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even though that's obviously very, in a sense, black and white as such.
Yeah.
Like, because it's either you vote for them or you vote for them. It's not like you've got a massive pool to go from. But
yeah, I think now you see it in the States as well, where it's Democrats and Republicans, and no one, even people that I know, like the two of them can't be friends. You can't be like, all right, well, I voted for Donald Trump and you voted for Joe Biden, but even though I don't agree with his politics, I can still be a friend. But it's like, you voted for him, so
that's it. That's a cancelling as such, like, which is crazy stuff.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
Yeah, it's so true.
Intense.
But I find it's funny, like the language and the terminology that has grown out of it. So if someone is saying something that's making you uneasy or you disagree with, then it's like you're spreading hate speech, you know?
Yeah.
It's all this way of just oppressing others constantly or oppressing those that, you know, are dangerous to our own ideology.
Yeah.
So, and I guess the States really is like a full-on manifestation of that, you know. It feels like anyway.
It's extremes all over that country.
Yeah. Do you miss living there?
No.
Okay.
No. I enjoy going there and seeing my friends and everything like that, but for everyday life, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, lifestyle.
Yeah.
Driving
and
around.
Australia is just like fantastic. So
yeah. How do you feel about the advent of all these amazing skate parks in Sydney?
Oh, it's great.
Dude, like, did you ever think you'd see it in your lifetime?
I think, yeah, I mean, at some point, like Melbourne, it seems like Melbourne has always gotten more parks than we get. But I think that also has to do with, like, there's more space, real estate is cheaper. But yeah, it's great that Sydney's getting all these. And I think it's got a lot to do with the Olympics, trying to get kids into skating and things like that. So
100%.
We're laughing because we talk about it all the time. Like, love it or hate it, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good for everyone though.
Oh, it's so good. The options are just insane. It's like, so and also the first time I seen like granite ledges at a skate park, I just was like, that was something I never thought I'd see at a skate park. Like, maybe
they're really starting
block.
to like switch it up and put like, a good amount of effort into it.
So good, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so sick. Hey, listen, let's get another clip up.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'll just let you cue whatever's up and we'll have a chat and Chima can break it down for us.
Sweet.
Here we go. What have we got? What's the next clip? Oh, this one. So let's have a look. Where was this for those that are unaware?
So this is in Campbelltown, which is like way out in the suburbs, southwest Sydney, basically. And my friend was doing a bit of like tradie work out there and sent me a photo of it. That was him that just chucked Lee the beer up there. Boggo found this spot. So, yeah, he was doing work out there and sent me this, and I was like, wow, it's like an amazing spot. So we just went out there, and it just happened to be like a 40-degree day.
Oh, right. It was.
And, yeah, this probably took like 2 hours or something. It's the only board slide, or the only kink rail that I've ever board slid, first and last. And you can't see it in the footage, but you actually have to... Yeah.
Why, you just did not enjoy it?
Last so far, I mean. I haven't found another one that I want to board slide.
Okay. Is that the same shirt? The Sade
no,
shirt?
that's a Slayer shirt.
Oh, it's a Slayer shirt.
Yeah. But, you know, with this one, it was super safe because there's just grass on one side. So if there was stairs on the other side, I don't know if I would have done it. But, yeah. First board slide on a kink rail.
Yeah. So... have you ever, I mean, how often do you turn up to like a rail like this or a gap or a set of stairs and you get there and you've organised photographers and filmers and you get there and just, without saying it, in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, I don't know if I can do this. Does that happen often?
I mean, it happens, but normally, like, I mean, if I've never seen the spot before, you never know what it might look like when you get there.
Yeah.
But I would say a good amount of the times... you have to do it. And especially throughout the whole filming of this video part, it was just me, Lee Bolton, Colin Evans, Sam Cody or Dave Carmy would come out. And Dave has kids. Colin works 9 to 5, Lee works 9 to 5, and Lee has 2 kids as well. So you'd normally get 1 day on the weekend. So if you're going to bring everybody out, you got to do your thing, not waste their time, and like get it done, you know. So there was
professional skateboarder.
Yeah, it wasn't like it used to be where you're just with your mates and
you can waste,
whatever.
You can waste everyone's time.
Yeah, and every session there would be no one else. There'd be no other skaters there. It was just the photographers, filmers, and then me. Yeah. So you just go do your thing, and then you go back home again. And then you wait till next weekend when you have 1 day, and then you do it all over again. So
for this particular rail, like, how did you start, like, tinkering with it? Like, you know, how many times do you think you rolled up to it before you even...
And was there a warm-up, something else before you came there?
No, I just went straight. I normally like to just go straight to it and just, like, get right into it. But, I mean, you can kind of see in the footage, there's, like, the grass on one side, so it's just... starting on the down bit, jumping over onto the grass, and then slowly getting more and more comfortable, and then eventually standing right over it.
Yeah. So was that in the back of your mind? It's like, okay, I'm going to bail into the grass. Were you worried about that pole at the bottom?
Yeah, so when you got right to the end, you can see there's like a little bike rack on the left.
Yeah.
So there was always that in the back of my mind, or just like kind of sacking it as well, but that never happened.
Were you sort of bummed you had to, like when you landed it, you did go onto the grass? Were you hoping that you could swerve and stay on the concrete, like on the path?
No, because it was like a good amount of concrete
Yeah.
before the grass, so you know, like when you land and you roll, that it's a make.
It felt like a make. It was a make. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Because I hate those spots where you roll away and you're like, oh, maybe you might have fallen off or this or that. I like it to look solid.
Yeah. I guess because you did go on the grass and keep rolling. That's the make. I was just as I was watching, I was just thinking about Chris Jocelyn's tray flip at El Toro.
Yeah, I was
controversial
watching
tray
that the other
flip.
day. I personally, I count that as a make
Oh, so
because his truck or something broke, right?
well, it bent from the try before he stomped it
Yeah.
and slightly bent his truck.
Yeah, because you can see he's rolling away, and then something
just
the
goes-
board just decides to go the other way. So it's like he did make it, but his truck was bent then, I guess.
Yeah.
And that sucks because it is legit, but then you can't really use the foot. I don't know. It's a grey area. I would count it as a make though, because he absolutely was going to roll away, but his truck was messed up.
I agree.
So-
What do you think, Ty? Did he make it?
Oh, I could go for that for
Yeah.
sure. It was such a looking at it going, you fully got robbed.
It was a
Yeah,
robbery.
Basically,
Yeah.
like a proper.
Yeah, that
'cause
was
he
like-
stomped it like hard.
Yeah. But he starts rolling, and then you can see it suddenly just I
Just
don't know.
swerves and just
Yeah.
veers. Yeah.
I felt so bad for him because hasn't El Toro changed now? They've put a gate up the top or they've put skate stoppers.
I'm not
Like
sure.
it's not skatable anymore, apparently.
Maybe
So
not.
he's like, that opportunity's just gone now.
Yeah. One that got away.
Skateboarding's so tenuous like that.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Yeah, so I want to just go through a bit of a chronology of your life. Like I said, your life has been well documented over the years, and you did do an epically lated, which is probably one of the most thorough documentations and most sort of premium level documentations, in my opinion. But so your life in Villawood, like, how old were you when you started venturing into the city?
I would have been
skate.
about, I think like 10 years old.
10.
Maybe 9 or 10 when my brother was allowed to take me, and then 12 or 13 when I could go by myself.
All right. So your brother would take you in.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
And is that when you just started meeting friends, or did that sort of come in your teen years more?
Back then it was just like the older like skate crew. So
Give me some names.
would be like Steve Teeney, Michael Davidson, Dean Armour, Mick Ewan, Tyzo, Gibbo, just that whole city crew. And they were all a bit older than me. So kind of got introduced to them first. And then when I was old enough to catch the train by myself, you would kind of meet all the other like skate kids.
Yeah.
So like Dane and Get Rad and like everyone from back then. Yeah.
So sick. So legendary.
Yeah.
I actually went skating with Dean Armour at Glebe a few months back. And I mean, he just loves, everyone still loves skateboarding. But he loves skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like adores
it's awesome,
it.
yeah.
And it's really inspiring to be around.
Yeah.
But, so like, I think of, the way I've envisioned you, because I am a bit older, I remember the original pit crew, the original amphitheatre, with the first pit.
Yeah.
And, I was never really part of that crew or anything, but I'd venture into the city from Nowra and see like the same heads like Davo and Sid Tapier and Steve and Phil Mackey. And sorry if there's anyone else I forgot, but it was such a profound little time. Then they demolished it and they had like the new pit with the 4 block, right? Yeah. And I kind of see you as like one of that, like that crew.
Yeah,
That-
definitely.
Like you guys were that new pit crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the old one I skated probably a couple times,
Yeah.
but it seems like there was a huge like what would you call it? Like a generational change when like Martin Place was redone. Even though the same people were still around, it was like a whole new group of kids came about. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder if it's like, because you know how you like to throw yourself down stuff. Do you think that pit was responsible for inspiring you
Not the
on
pit.
that journey?
I think it was just because when I started skating, I was like 8 or 9. And for a kid that size, I couldn't do anything on flat.
Right.
So everything I would learn downstairs. because you have the time to wait for the board to flip and everything. So
Didn't have the strength.
yeah, exactly. And the boards were too big and everything, so you just figure it out down stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that's how that all started.
Sick.
Yeah.
And let's go into your first sponsor.
Yeah. So that was Globe. I got sponsored at a skate contest in Maryland, and that would have been like 1999 or 2000 maybe, I can't remember. I signed a contract for one pair of shoes every 3 months.
Whoa.
And yeah, that went on for a long time. And I remember one time asking them, I was like, I had ripped shoes, and I was like, do you think you have like any money, like you could hook me up like an extra pair of shoes? And they were like, no, we don't, whatever. And as a kid, I believed it before knowing, you know, how much money, especially how much money they had then. And then 99 Degrees skate shop, and then
Aaron
Juice
Jenkins?
Clothing, with Aaron Jenkins, and then Juice, and then Aaron got me on S, and then World Industries
Yep.
through like Hardcore or whatever, and I was with them for like a year before I got on Real.
Wow, got the full
Yeah.
chronology. It's great. Thank you.
And then after that, I got kicked off S, and then started riding for Vans.
Can I ask why?
So back in the day, I used to like go on the skate parks forums, and I remember being in I think it was in the chat room, and someone had asked me about like Soul Technologies G2 system, which is like the technology and the soul or whatever. And someone asked me if it was good, and I was like, oh, it's like not that great or whatever. And I didn't think anything of it because I was like a 13-year-old kid. And then I think I went to call Andrew Curry to get some shoes, and he was like, they're not happy with what you said. They've put all this money into it. And I was just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't think anything of it. And he was like, you're off the team, mate. Like, it's done. And I was just like, fuck, all right. And then a couple months. Not particularly.
No.
Because a couple months before that, Scott Gibson was doing Vans at the time. And he had hit me up and been like, why don't you ride for Vans? And this is back when, like, Vans wasn't what it was now. Like, they were still kind of coming back up from... It was when Jeff was just starting to wear Authentics and, you know, making, like, the thin shoes cool again. So, yeah, the same day that I got kicked off S, I called Scott Gibson and was like, does the offer still stand with Vans? And then got on Vans the same day.
Oh,
Yeah.
been on them ever since.
And been on them ever since, and that was like almost 20 years ago.
So do they only give you one pair of shoes every 3 months as well?
No, definitely not. Yeah.
How many pairs of shoes come on, we need to know. How many pairs of shoes do you get a month?
Oh, I mean, I guess I
Or
could
is it
get
just
as...
on demand?
I guess I could get as many as I want, but I think my daughter's probably getting the most shoes because she's like growing through so many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed in like a lot of your parts, like you know, you like the half cabs.
Yeah, I mean, during it was probably like 2005 to 2011. That was like the half cab time for me.
Half cab time.
And then it was Authentics,
Skate highs.
and then my shoes, and then skate highs and old schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
When I had more ankle problems, I started going with skate highs, high tops.
And definitely like, do you need that cushion in the sole or?
No, so I skate the original ones. I don't
Okay.
skate the pros.
See, that's mind blowing to me that you like. I thought like you must want some sort of cushion in your sole when you're throwing your stuff.
No, I like it to be like as thin as it can be. Yeah. I think throughout the years I've like really conditioned my feet to take it, because for a good 5 years I skated in Authentics, which are like the thinnest Vans, and they were just the classic ones as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I put those on now and walk around in them, and I'm like, I don't know how I ever skated around in those shoes. It's crazy.
Funny, eh?
Yeah.
Do you think that kickflip at Cook Phillip Park, 17,
Yeah.
was your breakthrough moment, and that's what has propelled you to where you are now? Or do you think it happened before that?
I wouldn't say that trick in particular, but definitely that whole kill self video part.
Yeah.
Because before, I can't remember if I'd already done the kickflip yet, but I sent like a rough copy of my part to Deluxe in the end of 2004. So that's how I got on Deluxe. And then, yeah, I guess at the same time, I'd switched all my sponsors and everything. And then that kill self part came out. And then from there, it really propelled me. So I wouldn't say that trick in particular, but definitely the video part.
Yeah, because in the kill self part, you do a line where I think you do like a kickflip nose slide before.
Yeah,
it,
there's like a couple tricks,
and then you
the
ollie it.
Yeah, yeah.
In the line.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you kickflip it in that part as well, or was that in a
Yes,
different video?
that was
the ender.
last trick. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I couldn't believe you ollied it in your line, and you look so like you were talking about strength in your legs. You know,
Yeah.
do you think that's when around that age was when the strength was obviously coming?
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
I'd finally got like a bit of a growth spurt.
Gotcha.
And so I would have been 15, 16 filming that video part.
Yeah,
So that is when, yeah, you just
dude.
grow a little bit, get stronger.
You know what I love the most? Like I loved how when you kickflipped it, like your brother was there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and how stoked he was. Like,
I mean, yeah, everyone got excited because I tried it
yeah,
before that and like bruised my heels and everything. And then on that day, it was first try.
Wow.
And then did it again that day. Because you can tell in the footage, the second one that I did was like a bit rocket. And then, but that's why the reaction, because actually I remember when that video part came out, it was also a time when like the Slap magazine forums were very, very toxic. And a lot of people were like, who's this kid think he is? He's like, because I throw my hands up in the air.
yeah.
But that was purely just because I was so like surprised because it was first try.
First try.
So it was just like a natural reaction.
No one had ever done it. Like,
Yeah.
But seriously,
And you
I
got
mean, to
criticism.
get heckled for
Yeah.
that, like that was one of the biggest kickflips ever done at
Yeah.
that stage. Like,
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, people on
That's-
Slap, it's still the same now. People online will hate you for
but the
whatever.
algorithm takes the
crazy.
negative comments down now, man.
Yeah.
Like Instagram's so sensitive. I actually wrote on Alexander Volkanovski, you know, the UFC fighter? Because I like UFC. Alexander Volkanovski's best featherweight in the world. And he put a clip up and I wrote something like, he wriggled out of a submission. And I wrote, you're an animal, like you're an animal for doing that.
Yeah, it gets confused.
Boom. And it got confused and I got my account blocked for a week.
Yeah.
It's so sensitive. And it, again, ties into cancel culture. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be so measured in what you say. I don't know. And, you know, like I said, with the loss of some big characters in skateboarding, I'm just who we really, really needed.
Yeah.
Love them or hate them. And, you know, who I'm probably alluding to, like, you know, Grosso and Phelps and things like that. It's like, are we going to get too sanitized here?
Yeah.
You know?
Homogenized.
And is that affecting the culture?
I think at some point it'll turn around just as it will with everything because the majority of people don't want to be that censored.
Gotcha.
It's a handful of people like that you're censoring everything for.
Who
and
speak the loudest.
Yeah.
yeah.
And everyone just wants to be able to enjoy themselves. Like there's a lot of things that you shouldn't say to people and things that are horrible, but at the same time it's like some conversations should be opened and some things should be joked about.
True. Those Slap forums were a free-for-all. I think it's because you could be an anonymous account, couldn't you? Is that right?
Yeah, you could be anonymous. It's the same now, though, I'm guessing. Like, it's... I don't know. Maybe... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But back then, it was definitely way more wild. I remember reading that stuff and being like, wow.
You could cop shit for putting your hands up.
Yeah, but
to me, it just looks like someone who's just landed something gnarly and was... Yeah, you look surprised, and then your brother is like so stoked and hugging you.
I would say back then it was
actually.
way more hateful and people were just like giving you shit just because, you know?
Yeah.
For sure.
That's just the internet.
Yeah, it is the internet.
Yeah.
Guy Miller shot that photo, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. How? Because Guy picked you up onto Juice.
Yeah.
Pretty early on, right?
Yeah, I would have been 11, 10 or
Yeah.
11, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Was that Flick of the Switch your first video part? You know?
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
So
No,
that's
I love
pretty
Guy.
much-
It was like an amazing time and definitely did a lot for me.
Yeah.
And especially it's something that I thought about like years later and was definitely like an awkward thing was to quit on someone that had given you so much and everything. But with that being said, it's like in your skate career you only have a very limited window and everything like that. And when it came to Volcom, it was like at the time, it was like Shane, Jake, Lewis, Dustin, Joe Pease, like all the people I looked up to in Australian skating and a spot for me to be with them. And I was like, well, you know, I got to take it.
Yeah.
And I think that was like my next level up kind of because it was like the Let's Live video came and that was a huge deal at the time and everything. So, yeah, it's like, you know, you got to make tough decisions in life.
Totally.
Yeah.
Describe Guy's reaction when you had to quit.
I think he was pretty pissed off, and especially because Volcom didn't come to me. I had kind of spoke to like Shane and then Peanut about it, so it was like I kind of orchestrated the deal, which is, you know, very dark, like going behind someone's back, but at the same time, it definitely like got me to where I am now.
Yeah. And your homies were there.
Yeah.
You wanted to, was it partly because of you wanted to be with your homies as well? I mean,
Yeah,
was that
exactly.
the
Like
main
that was
motivator?
when like I was the tightest with like Jake Duncombe and like obviously yeah, Azar was over there. I'd known him my whole life. It was like basically like a family like waiting for you.
Yeah.
Which it was for like the time I was with Volcom.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you mind if I ask, like, can you share one of your favorite memories of Shane?
I would say probably just he wasn't supposed to, but he came on the Kill Self trip with us when we drove from Melbourne to Sydney, premiering the video. And I mean, I couldn't think of like one moment in particular, but just his overall presence was always an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hear that a lot, man. So,
Yeah. Larger than life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Well, can we get another clip up? Let's, what do we got next? Let's have a look. Talk us through something. Here we go. I can't wait to see it. Oh, here we go. Yes.
All right. So,
Can I, before you start,
yeah.
just even looking at this now, years later, you've probably watched the footage a bunch of times. What immediate feelings are evoked within you years later?
Just pretty stoked that it's like something that I don't ever have to do again. So for this video part, right, this was like this is probably like the 5th trick that I filmed for it.
Oh, right.
So for like majority of my last tricks, I filmed first
Yeah.
because it's always easier when you know how the end of the video part's going to be, and it's always easier knowing that you have all your last tricks instead of leaving those 2 last.
Yeah.
So those first 2 attempts, I tried to push at it and couldn't get near enough speed, and those bails absolutely killed me. I think I can't remember if it was the first one or the second one. I broke my foot. So now my right pinky just kind of sits up like that.
So
it doesn't touch the ground anymore.
So the first or second attempt, you broke your foot.
Yeah, I broke my foot, but I was like,
And you kept going.
Yeah, because this is the one day where I could get... This is the one day where
Thank
I could
you.
get Kami, Lee, Colin, Onion,
Look at that look on your face there. I can see
basically
the
to get everyone together to film it
and shoot it.
and shoot it, and then
So you honestly thought you could push into it?
yeah, because it looked like it, but yeah, I didn't have enough speed. I mean, I think someone like Chris Fanner could probably push into it. but I didn't have the legs for that. And then someone had a bike there, and Sammy's like amazing at towing people. He's like the strongest rider or something. He's towed Bowen to stuff before as well. So the first couple that he towed me on, I like was going too fast and clearing it too much. And also because the top of it is marble.
Yeah.
I mean, where you pop from on a few of these, like if you listen to the footage, my tail doesn't even hit. It's just like you just air off the stairs.
Wow.
And then I think just because I was going so quickly, it was like literally not the impact, but it was hard to land at that speed.
Gotcha.
After like flying through the air for that long.
Yeah.
So, that bail was...
Dude, do you watch that
another
footage
brutal one.
and just go like, man, like I wish I was wearing sunglasses when I did that?
Not sunglasses, but I
Joking.
wish I wore like better like gloves because my hands got ruined by that as well.
Yeah, right. So what, you wore through the gloves?
Yeah, and they were like 3M, whatever that brand is, like layered gloves.
Like from like work
Yeah,
gloves?
and I went through those as well.
No, so you're limping there. Is that when you're like, I've probably broken something?
I could feel it in my foot, like it was pretty painful, but
Yeah.
because I think I only bailed three of them onto my feet, and all those three are the ones that like did the damage, you know?
Yeah.
The ones I was kind of landing on and slipping out were not so bad. And yeah, I don't know. I'd always looked at this spot since I was a kid, and I thought it would just fit perfectly in the video part, and I was like,
Yeah, for
that was it.
context, like as a kid, like, so you probably looked at that spot for what, 15 years?
probably like over 20 years.
Over 20 years you've
Yeah.
looked at it. Because I know
we
I've
used to
looked at
ollie
it.
it as like you'd ollie the first set and then ollie the second set.
Yeah,
And
it's
skate it
two,
like that, you know?
it's not a double flight, it's
Yeah.
two sets of stairs.
Yeah. But then, looking at it, I was like, I don't know if it's physically possible, but I'm like, as long as you go fast enough,
Yeah. Oh,
then,
there it is.
yeah, you can do it.
Dude, how'd that feel? Right
Fantastic.
now. Look at this
So
footage.
good.
Bang.
Yeah.
Like, were there heaps of people from like the general public standing around and watching as well? Like,
Yeah,
were you getting,
someone
like-
came, a whole group of people came out of, I can't remember, I think it's Channel 7 that's across the road.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's going on here? And we're just like, it's this. They're like, what's this for? And I'm like, I don't know, I can't explain this to you right now.
How much does that mess with your head though when you get randoms sort of spectating?
It does mess with me a little bit because people like tend to stand in the wrong area. It's just fair enough, but they don't understand what it is that you're doing.
Right.
And it's just an interesting thing. Since people have watched skateboarding on the Olympics, I've had a lot more people come up that seem to have an understanding of it. Like someone came up to me at Martin Place and they were like, oh, we always thought that you were just trying to kill yourself, basically. They didn't realize that there was like something that you're trying to do by like going off a set of stairs.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to land back on the board.
But they couldn't understand.
But a lot of people think you're just like, I don't know.
It's like, yeah, they couldn't understand the rationale. Like, I wonder if they see it as a form of stunt work.
Yeah, they think that you're trying to do this random thing and then possibly land back on your board, or you're just like trying to jump. I don't know, trying to kill yourself, like they always say.
A
Yeah,
Trying to
masochist.
self-harm.
yeah, it's bizarre.
When you said that the impact was a lot to land it and roll away, do you
Yeah.
mean by going too fast or too slow?
Going like too fast, so like ollieing and then trying to keep your weight centered, like throughout the air or whatever, and then when you land, you're like, wow, I'm still going. Because I was probably, I don't know.
Still everything.
I've got to be going like, that's like 35 Ks an hour or something.
Yeah,
Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's hard to land at that speed.
for sure.
And I think their landing might be a little bit downhill or something.
Looks a little. I think it's a
Yeah.
little downhill.
Yeah.
I've looked at that for a lot of years too.
Yeah.
Never thought of the whole thing though.
Yeah.
It's proper for sure.
Yeah, man. It's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad I can actually say that to you in person.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, because it inspired me. And here's a really random observation. Because this part came out during COVID, like it was actually, for me personally, I had some personal stuff going on. It was a dark time.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to move back from Indonesia. I was living in Indonesia and, Yeah, and I was able to go skating at this DIY spot in Wollongong. That was like my only respite. And when your part came out, just to see someone pushing himself to that level, it actually gave me this really sense of inspiration and hope. And I don't know, like it was just, I think a lot of people needed something like it. I know a lot of my friends like needed to be uplifted. Do you ever consider that you are uplifting people? Or are you just trying to impress the homies and other skaters?
No, I mean, it's not about like impressing anyone. With this video part, right, it was like kind of due to do a new part, and then COVID happened, and for the first month of COVID, I just sat at home with my family and was genuinely scared. I was like, I don't know how serious this is or whatever. And then after finding out a few friends that had it and hearing from them, they're like, oh, it's not so bad, whatever. I was like, all right. I was like, I'm not going to go back to the States for a long time. And there's going to be a lot of downtime. You could tell like it wasn't just going to be over or whatever. So I was like, all right, why don't we go out and film this part while Sydney's completely shut down. So me, Lee, and Colin started just like going out and getting random things and being able to skate things that normally you wouldn't, because there's no security around or anything. Yeah. And also being able to like get around Sydney with no traffic and everything. And because we couldn't leave Sydney, it was like ended up skating a lot of spots that you take for granted, but you never really skate. The stuff that you always walk by and you're like, oh, do it another time or whatever. Yeah. So with this part, kind of ran out of spots to skate. We skated everything there was kind of to hit in Sydney. Yeah. So it was a stretch. And then also by the end of it, in 2021 was when you couldn't leave your LGA.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I'm in Redfern, Lee's in Bondi, Collins in Zetland. And you remember those maps that they had where you could see where your circles would meet up? So we had like a good amount of the part finished, but we still needed like a couple more things. Yeah. So during that time, we're like trying to figure out where we can go, where we're not going to get fined for leaving like your local government area. Oh. So it was like a way different process to filming that part, but also my favorite because when you go on trips, it's like you're on a trip with like 8 other people, different personalities, different things that they want to skate. But for this whole part, it was just me, photographers, filmers, and the spot that we chose. Yeah. You just go there, do your business, everyone goes home.
There you go.
And yeah, no bullshit in between.
That's so good. Yeah. So good to hear it firsthand. I love it. Yeah. I made the joke about you wearing sunglasses, but I love some of that old footage of you like doing stuff.
Yeah. I was like the early like Volcom days.
Yeah, it's so classic.
I remember like Trapasso used to do it a lot as well. It was it's not cringy, but like it's pretty funny to look. It was definitely made sense in those times. It did. But yeah, it's funny.
I feel like you're one of the few people that like made it work. I used to like watching Brian Herman, like, you know, and he'd have like a Hawaiian shirt and glasses in some of his footage. Like that looks sick too.
Yeah. But you did some pretty hectic things with the sunnies on too. It wasn't like you were just sort of messing around. Like
so I started so yeah, the Rocks rail was for my first Vans shoe commercial. And when we started filming that, I had to keep the same clothes on and the whole look had to be exactly the same. And I wasn't thinking about it at the time where I was like, you're wearing sunglasses in all the catch-up, all the B-roll footage. So when we got there to do the backside flip, they were like, oh, you might, for consistency, like, keep the sunglasses on. So, yeah, that was...
Did you have to like second guess it, or did it put you off at all, or were you just like, what else?
No, what put me off was like Vans flew out a crew of probably 7 people from the States. So there was like Greg Hunt, Anthony Acosta was going to shoot the photo, and then all these other people using the red cameras. So they paid all this money, flew these people out from the States. They got a permit for the spot. And they're like, 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock
permits
on like a Thursday or something. And they're like, all right, go there and do your backside flip. And the very first try, I like tried a backside flip. I landed and like both my shoes came off and I hit the insides of my kneecaps on the road. So I completely buckled myself on the first go. But there was like no second chance to do it. So that was like an hour and a half of the same thing, just like beating yourself up until finally made it.
Do you think the sunnies put you off and that's why you took that?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have been wearing them because it's like for certain tricks, it's like hard to read your depth, and it depends where your board's going to be because you might get the frame of the sunglasses depending on where you're looking. Like, yeah,
Definitely.
No way. What's your relationship with Jim Thiebaud like? Epic.
fantastic.
Is he just the best dude ever?
Yeah, he's just up for like any idea that you have, any concern that you have, anything. You could go to him about anything, and he'll help you out.
Yeah,
it's like
right.
no matter who you are. Like when Dill and Ave were starting FA, he like helped him out. He told him like, "This is how you get your boards and your graphics and all this." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like regardless of who you are, if you're like his competition or whatever, he's down to help you out.
Yeah, right.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, it seems like it. You never hear anything bad about that guy.
Yeah.
He's just such a legend.
No, he's a legend, and he absolutely loves skateboarding.
Still.
He's all about it. Yeah,
You feel it?
yeah.
Do you still absolutely love it?
Yeah. I mean, I have my times. It all depends on what I'm doing. So it's like, if I go skate, I obviously enjoy, go skate with your friends, and that's like the greatest feeling. It reminds you of being a kid. But there are certain times when you got to go do certain things, or I don't know, Instagram. Sometimes you're sitting there and you want to put something quality on Instagram, but you're also trying to film it for half an hour on an iPhone, and you're just wondering like what you're doing. But at the same time, I don't want to sound jaded and complain because I still get paid to skate. All I have to do is post on Instagram and do what I love. So, yeah.
Are you working on a part? Are you going to start?
Yeah, I want to start doing something new. I just got to think about, it's always easier if I pick the spots first
Gotcha.
and figure out what I want to do and who it's going to be for and what the time frame is, and then, start doing it. But yeah, I'm probably about due to do something again.
Because like your career's been long, man. That's like, I think a lot of people in my circle anyway, when you did release that Nice to See You part, we were kind of shocked. Like, we're kind of like, and you probably, have you heard that before? Because it's like, if you go back to your first major part, which was the Kill Self part, right?
Yeah. So it's like a 20 year gap.
That's
something like that, yeah.
That's longer than most, man.
Yeah.
I was going to say on that too, like now it's been close to 25 years of filming videos since the first Juice video, and then obviously Kill Self was a major part, but then I find it pretty astonishing in a sense that, when obviously the kickflip at Cook Phillip was a big thing at the time, one of the biggest things ever done, and then you've kind of currently bookended that, nearly 20 years later with the Martin Place set. Like, that's pretty amazing to do two of the biggest things kind of ever, and you're sort of first and most currently recent parts. Like, that's pretty wild for anyone to achieve that.
I think it's a great way for like anything you do in life, like especially the approach on that video part was like at that age, because I was like 31, 32, filming that, to be like, not necessarily just for everyone else, but to prove to yourself, can you do better than you did last time?
So sick.
And can you consistently never seeing what anyone else does and being in competition and being like, got to be better than this person or that or whatever, but being competitive with yourself and trying to prove to yourself more than anyone that you can still do it and that you still have the love and motivation to do that.
I think that's a great lesson of just trying to better yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And within your chosen activity or as a person too.
And like any aspect of your life, you can kind of take that too, where
exactly.
You don't have to be the best tomorrow, but you should aim to be better tomorrow or next week than you were today.
Definitely. Definitely. Spot on.
Yes, sir.
So
Love
good.
that you said that.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, like, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Or is it the other
sure.
way around?
Yeah.
How you do anything's how you do it. And it's just so.
I mean, yeah, you can take your mindset from skating and apply it to almost anything, because a lot of people in life, or anything you go through in life, like failure is the one thing that people are afraid of, so they tend not to do a lot of things. But with skateboarding, failure is something that
It's intrinsic.
is 100% part of it. So you learn, like, right, you're going to try it this time, that time. You try it 100 times, but you only have to get it right once. So as long as you get it right once, then that's what it's all about.
Have you started trying to convey these values to your daughter?
Yeah, it's yeah. In some way, I mean, it's hard with like a 5-year-old kid in this day and age.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to tell her, like if, she rides a scooter or a bike or whatever and you fall over and you're like, that's totally fine. You're okay. Get up and do it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's it. Get up, keep going.
Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Speaking of your like video parts and stuff, I was doing a little recap this morning before coming, and I think you got a massive selection and diversity of your tricks and everything you do, which I think is quite fascinating, really, because you're super well-rounded, switch, regular, fakie, forwards, like flips, lots of different things. I did notice a couple of somewhat omissions, though, given that you had a couple of manuals, but they were more like pretty dangerous manuals, like drops off and front 360s. You did a couple of switch ones in one part, but
front 360s, I can't. I can do them, but my right ankle, like when you front three and you under rotate and you land, I always get like a hot pocket from doing that.
Yeah, right.
So I just tend not to do that.
Yeah,
and for some reason, just going switch that way, just over that shoulder, I can like spin better.
Man, it turns into that. Yeah,
The back
full back
threes.
to 180.
Back threes are your like,
back
staple,
threes,
right?
Definitely.
The moneymaker.
Dude, what about that one you did at the Dime Challenge?
Oh, yeah.
That was so sick.
Yeah. That was really fun, that contest.
Yeah, it looked
Because
like
it
it.
wasn't like a contest.
Did you see it, Ty?
Yeah, I watched it on.
Yeah, it's like
YouTube.
it was like
the
a
massive kick
flat,
around.
like a flat bank
Yeah, big bump to bar.
bump to bar.
Yeah.
And the drop was huge.
Yeah, because they kept on putting like layers on it to make
Gotcha.
it slowly bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like huge crowd.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, what a
awesome.
moment,
That's the
eh?
first time I've skated in front of a crowd and been hyped and motivated by the crowd, because it's not like a street league or something. It's like all these, because the dime thing is kind of just like a piss take of contests.
It's your place, man.
The whole crowd is just like drunk and stoked, and it's way more of a fun vibe than so serious, Yeah.
Yeah, where are you at with skate comps? You like watching them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to watch the Olympics and stuff like that. Skating
Specialist?
in them, like, I can't do. I was in the street league last year, and I just like
Which
I think-
one?
the one in Sydney.
I was there.
Yeah, I was like last place.
I was very distracted that day because I was
Yeah.
catching up with a bunch of people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, it's like if it's like a best. I always liked the format when it was like the Maloof contest.
Yeah.
And you get 10 minutes to basically get 10 minutes to like land whatever you want to. But the street league approach is like so much harder, where you got to be so on point.
Yeah.
And I think that's less entertaining to watch, because I remember watching Niger and everyone in the Maloof contest and watching them go for 10 minutes and seeing what they pull up in 10 minutes is far more incredible than seeing what they can do in 2 60-second lines and 5 attempts at whatever tricks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Jam format. It's all about jam format.
Yeah,
It has
exactly.
to be, yeah. Wow. Let's get up that. We've got one more clip, don't we? Let's get it up. I think this is the last one I picked out,
Yep.
because for me personally, and like a lot of other people, it's just so epic. The switch tray over the rail in Martin Place.
So for this one, I wanted to tray flip the other one on the other side and then switch tray this one, so it would be like having a mirrored switch regular trick in your part. But someone had already tray flipped the other one. So then I think I got the back three over the other one. And then this one, I'd always wanted to like switch tray, alley-oop, a rail.
Wow.
But for this one, like, you know, the angle of the rail that goes
It's the
against
hard
where you're
way.
going. So, yeah, it turned out beautifully.
Did it the hard
probably,
way.
yeah. So I think that was, probably the best switch tray I've ever done.
Would you say
definitely
it's in that whole video part, it was your favourite trick personally?
Yeah. That one and the alley-oop
That's
back
stoked.
three as well, because you don't really like see people do those. And I'd never done them before, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, the switch tray was
Can we go back to the switch tray?
probably
Yeah,
I reckon that was probably like the hardest trick in the part.
Yeah. How many shots? 3 shots? 4
No,
shots? How
no.
many times?
That was probably like an hour and a half.
So, because you held up 3 at the end, I was wondering what that was about.
No. So that is like
Is that it?
I messed it up because I was so stoked, but it's this celebration that Leo Messi does. It was like
Okay.
in a Champions League.
Oh, right. Okay.
So he's
There's
like-
the reference.
1, 2, 3. At the camera.
Is that what you were trying? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't make
But then
the
I ended
connection.
up messing it up and then just like flipping the camera or something.
Yeah. That was super impressive. You look super relieved there. So an hour and a
Yeah.
half for trying it. Like how
It
many
was hard because when I do
Wow.
switch trays, I like really stand on my toes. So it's super hard to go that fast, hit the right angle, and stand on your toes and like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was by far out of everything in the part the best feeling.
It looked so solid the way you
Yeah.
landed. Yeah, wow. So you probably threw yourself down that, in an hour and a half, 30 times?
Probably more than it's probably like 40 tries. I don't know. It'd be interesting to ask Lee because he still has all the raw footage to find out how many attempts are on what.
Cold day?
It was a cold day.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Martin Place during
cold,
winter,
eh?
during like in between all those buildings is always extremely cold. So, yeah,
Dude.
that's what the gloves are for.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, how much is it? Because I noticed there's gloves in a lot of it. and
Yeah,
It must have saved your hands a lot, right?
yeah.
Yes and no? Or they get ripped
And
up?
it's also from like an era that I grew up in when, you know, people were like, I think Greco and stuff, someone will call them like hammer gloves.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, when you're doing the serious business, you pop the gloves on.
They so are hammer gloves, man.
Did you get a My War from that?
Nah.
That'd be a good
I don't think
one.
I got I should hit him up and get like a My War going on one of those.
Because that's a pretty
One of those
sick trick.
things.
And then if he's got
Yeah.
all that footage, like,
Yeah,
why
there's
not,
a
you
lot.
know?
I mean, yeah,
Dude.
he filmed a lot during that video part.
God, now that I know that you probably had a broken foot on that double set, that's insane, dude.
Yeah,
That's a mind
wild,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's like where my pinky toe joins to my foot, and it's just like permanently like up
Gnarly.
because it was messed up for like a long time after that. So I'm sure something broke there, but
Bro.
Did you go and get it checked out? And
no, I didn't because what was it?
because it was COVID. And
The next day was
hospitals.
Father's Day, I think. Yeah, it was Father's Day, and then like me and the family and my brother and his wife went like up the coast somewhere.
Sick.
And then a few days go by, and then you're like, oh, I can kind of walk, and then you're like, all right, I'm too used to that, just not getting things checked out.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
sick.
ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that.
Kind of, yeah. Not for
I don't know.
everything, but
Yeah, not for everything. Maybe with skaters, it's so common in skaters, but in life in general, I'm
Yeah.
sometimes think, why do I concern myself with the ways of the problems in the world? And maybe I should just be ignorant and be happier.
well, that's why. Yeah. If there's problems that you either have a solution to or you don't, you go about it the same way. It's great if you got a solution, then you do the solution. If you can't do anything about it, then you can't do anything about it. That's why I try to stay off social media and everything, because you open your phone and you go down these rabbit holes and you find out all this information about what's going on or P. Diddy, something like that. And you're like, you know what? Like, I don't need to know about this shit. And like, it
is useless information, some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've found too, when you do remove yourself from news and media, you end up finding out what you need to know anyway. That is, if something is actually serious enough to impact your way of life, you'll find out anyway.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, maybe the ignorance too. Yeah, like when you hear about people like P. Diddy getting wrapped up in some sort of scandal or whatnot, do you need to know? I don't know. So
definitely not.
Man, so epic, Chima. So I always ask everyone this, like, you know, where to from here? Like the next 5 years, where do you see yourself? Going to stay in Sydney?
Yeah, I'll stay in Sydney. Like my daughter's just started school, so stay in the same spot, keep doing the same things, but slightly better. Yeah,
Nice.
Slightly better than yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can hope
you
for.
You said that, man.
Yeah.
It's so like motivational, man. I love that. And any shout outs, man? Anyone you want to shout out who's really been integral in your life?
No one in particular.
Okay.
I just thank you two guys for this is my first ever podcast experience. Yeah.
Because I was wondering if you'd been on the Nine Club.
I've done the bunt, but I'm sorry, I've never done like this official like in a studio thing. So
right, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I hope you had a good
appreciate
experience. I thought you'd been on the Nine Club though. You need to be on the Nine Club. Come on, man.
No.
Have
So
they asked
it was funny. It was last year? I was in LA last year, and you know, going back to cancel culture. Someone had just gone on there. I think it might have been you know, Mike Arblo. Yeah. So he had just gone on the Nine Club, and I was on my way in an Uber to do the podcast, and someone from Vans hit me up because Arblo's episode came out, and then I think Matters one came out after that, and everyone was hating on Matters for participating with a show that everyone should be cancelling. So he caught the grunt of it, even though like he didn't know about all this stuff. So they called me up and they were like, don't do the episode. Like
Vans did?
Yeah, you got to wait for this to cool down or whatever. And I was like, fuck, all right.
Would you do it though if you had the opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely go now. I still talk to like Kelly every so often, and I'm like, I'm going to be in LA. Let's organize a time to do it. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got you before the Nine Club.
Yeah.
not that we're anywhere near their level of podcast, but still.
Yeah.
They're so
awesome.
rad.
As far as the evolution of Chima and stuff, and talking about your roundedness with video parts, and any, not to give anything away, but you got any, you know, sort of things that you want to do differently, or could we see like another thing noticing and lacking was a bit of transition stuff, except for those big back threes? Any transition, Chima, coming out?
I wish. I think I'm like
such a vert thing to say.
See, I can't skate. I can do flyouts, right?
Yeah, right.
But I can't do tranny where you go back into it. And like I've tried anything over 6 foot, terrifies me, and I hesitate. Like it's just, I think it's too far gone for me.
I know, fair enough.
Interesting.
Like I think you got to learn it at such a young age, and it changes like your mindset.
Yeah. No, I could agree with that. But a lot of people use it as a fallback as they get older too.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Can be a bit mellower.
Like Shod's the only one that I've ever seen in his 20s be like, I want to start skating tranny and then become like
was
one
it
of the
that
best.
way?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he was
he's really good,
he was a
man.
full street skater, and he was just like, I'm going to figure it out, and he did. But he has a brain like no one else.
He's amazing.
He's like very I don't know what you'd call it. If he's going to focus on something and do something, he's going to like it's 100%.
Yeah,
Like he sees the
it's so
pattern,
good.
like real, like almost like a mathematical brain.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say not for a shot. I wouldn't say mathematical. I would just
Like
say
in terms of just calculates it. No?
yeah. If he's like, I want to get drunk, he's like, oh, and he'll just go get completely fucked up. And he's like, if I want to learn how to skate tranny, he's like, and now he's like one of the best at skating tranny somehow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it just becomes very
very-
fixated on
very fixated and
Yeah.
So what about so then if no transition, what's the evolution? Do you got any, thoughts of different-ish sort of things that you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, there's maybe like more tech stuff, more ledge skating. How many times can you like back three something or whatever? You always got to like switch it up. I think I did it with the last part. It's like you couldn't top that back three or that switch tray. So it's like, right, those tricks might be off the shelf. I don't know.
Yeah, how are you going to top that? Maybe you should just bring out a full like manuals only part.
Yeah, something different. Yeah, it would be hard to top.
Do you actually get into tech manuals at all?
Yeah. At Waterloo I do. It's hard to find street spots that are like good for them.
Yeah.
I need long manual pads to do my manuals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair
So
call.
sick.
But
Yeah. I just had one more question. Dustin Dolan, man.
yeah.
Like, how can you not love Dustin?
Yeah.
You stay in regular contact with him?
Yeah, we speak every so often.
Yeah.
Just like Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like in Paris.
Yeah.
Just doing his piss drunk thing. He's very proud of that.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like, and you've probably already talked about this with someone else, but like, because he's from like the greater western part of Sydney, which is like Blue Mountains, but it's not Sydney, but it's still out west.
Yeah.
And you're from the west as well, then coming into the city, do you think that helped bond you and your relationship with him? Just because you could relate to...
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say it was definitely like the Volcom days.
Yeah.
Of like all of us making that video. It was like such a rare thing that one branch of like an American company would let you put so much budget and everything into making something. So yeah, during that time was like very interesting. And then also like I lived with him in LA for like 4 years.
Gotcha.
So, Australians always like to have home away from home and they like stick together. So
Yeah. Here's the guy for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, man.
Yeah.
I love Dustin. And speaking of podcasts, to this day, his episode on the Nine Club it's one of my favorite skateboarding podcasts ever. Have you heard it or watched it?
No, I didn't know that he's been on there.
Oh man, go and watch it. I mean, you're gonna. I think he even talks about you in it.
Yeah. All right.
But I think for a lot of American skaters listening to that episode, that probably went over their head. But because he's talking about Sydney and characters around Australia.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just amazing, and how like he's just so authentic and raw.
Yeah.
And he got wasted the whole episode. I don't know how many beers he drank, but man, it's so classic and unique. Like that guy is just such a rare character, and we need more of that with the next generation coming through. I'm not necessarily advocating for drinking, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there's no judgment, but I'm just saying like
just a little more charisma.
that raw authenticity.
Well, that's
with
the personas we were talking about, right? And
Yeah.
having that side of things.
Especially with the advent of
I mean, he kind of got like, I can't even remember what for, but like cancelled a little bit. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think all of it will come full circle because the people like doing the count, you see, that's the thing is you never know what someone's going to be offended by tomorrow. So you could cancel someone for something today and then tomorrow you're going to be the one getting it. So it's going to go full circle and everyone, I don't know, get over it. Have a laugh.
Get over it, yeah.
It
Laugh
is what
at
it
yourself.
is. Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that's a good way to end. Unless there's something else you got in there, Chima. You good?
Oh, good.
All right, Mr. Chima Ferguson, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ty.
Yeah.